I'm just like, okay. And I hand him the fake ID, and trying to get a cop to believe a 20-year-old who is viciously speeding and weaving in and out of traffic, who has a fake ID that he's never used that fake ID, never going to work. In a million years. Sorry if you were thinking about trying to use that tactic later in life, just from example or from experience, it doesn't work.
It's so funny, just listening to you talk, you think of so many other points you could have brought up.
Yeah.
It's just
the way our brains work.
Also, I fucking hate that dude that you were in North Korea with.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Well, it's such that's such a. I'm sorry, you go first.
Well, it's not that he's a bad guy or like he's pondering these questions that like my mind has not thought of yet, and I'm like, because he's sitting there and he's struggling with that too.
And that's what it's always
been. But that's
I don't hate the guy.
Cocky move.
But I don't hate the guy. I hate the dogma, because the reality is like I've said this numerous times, especially when it comes to Christianity. If you are 100% sold out on the idea that if somebody doesn't know God, they're going to hell, why would you not then have that question in your brain? Like, why would you not go into full panic mode, looking at all these people who like they don't know who God is, they're never going to know who God is? If it's in your brain that people who don't know God are going to hell, absolutely, I'd make that same statement if I'm completely sold out that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's an interesting tension to hold.
But it's such a closed-minded thing to think. It's such a like. I'm sure he was raised in faith, and I'm sure everyone in North Korea was raised in some form of whatever their religion
Interestingly enough, we actually went to a church in North Korea.
Yeah, and it's like you were raised in that, and like there's people that, like you who question it and then come back to it, and then like are constantly in that cycle, and the idea that just because you are so deeply rooted in your faith, you can go, man, sucks, but literally everybody that doesn't believe what I believe is going to my fictional hell, which is like, whether you believe or not, it's such a egotistical approach to things. It's like, well, I'm right.
I mean, from what I remember, this guy was also like, he was very much so struggling with faith.
No jabs at him. It's more so the mindset of, I'm right, everybody else is wrong.
Okay.
I'm not
a big fan of that.
It just drives me, I don't know, up the wall. Yeah. It's crazy to think.
Very funny. I think there's, as someone who believes in what I believe, I think it would be silly to not ask people to believe what they believe.
Right.
But I don't believe it in such a way that would say, you are wrong.
Yeah.
That, to me, is where the ignorance comes into play. Like, I think for a person to believe in what they believe, I think it's, if you're not having questions about what you believe,
yes,
you're probably wrong.
Right.
If you're not working through the hard parts of what you believe, you're probably wrong. But for you to believe wholeheartedly, I don't think is inherently wrong. I think for you to say that because you believe wholeheartedly, then other people are wrong.
Yes.
That's the ignorant part.
That's the ignorant part,
so I believe wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I believe wholeheartedly in God. I believe wholeheartedly in Jesus. And it's weird. It's a very weird tension to be in, especially as someone who considers everyone else and all the time and constantly wants to be mindful of other people and love other people and be with other people and learn other people's stories. But it's my belief. I don't allow it to be something that I say, because I believe so much, you're just kind of dumb.
Well,
and that's there are people like that though.
Right. But what I always boil it down to is
hard.
is like
the whole podcast could become Christianity, which I do want to do an episode on.
We do need to.
We're in Bible Belt. A lot of us have been down here a long time, and we've had a lot of questions about it. So
maybe I'm oversimplifying it, and maybe a lot of people will cringe when I say this, but what I like to think is that there's more simplistic rules to afterlife.
Yeah.
I think it's like, the person that doesn't believe but spends their whole life doing good for other people and for people around them and for their family, it deserves a place in heaven more than the person that believes wholeheartedly but treats everyone around them like shit. It's not as simple as if believing is the only thing it takes to get in, that a lot of not good people are going to be there.
I remember, like, there were people like, that's all I have to do. And they were like, I'm just going to go and do whatever. Literally, they would say, I'm just going to go and do whatever I want. And then when I'm done with it, I'll go, oh, I'm sorry.
I repent.
Yeah.
And then, that's the...
Which, that's not a lot of people, for the record.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's an over simplification. I feel like if you are a good person and there is an afterlife, you've got nothing to worry about.
Pretty great segue to my story.
Awesome.
If we're being honest here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Can I just say one last thing?
Yeah.
At the point I'm at
I'm
right
sure
now,
my story will have other conversations
Yeah.
involved as we go.
100%.
no, it's just kind of like a final wrapping. It's where I'm at with heaven and hell, because that was like one of the biggest struggles. Like right now, I don't think it exists. I think that there is an afterlife? I don't know, but I like to think yes. I don't know what that is, though. I don't know what that means. But
I want to hop in a good way.
Yeah.
This is a great example. Because when someone would present that point, for you to go, I don't believe this exists, you have formulated an opinion over time based on your experiences and all the information you've looked up. For me to then go, you're wrong. That is the dumbest, most ignorant, like, how do I know you're wrong?
Yeah.
I have my belief, and for me to share my belief and go, this is what I've come to know, this is what I've come to understand, that's an intellectual, good conversation.
When you're saying your perspective trumps my perspective because
that's what you believe.
Because
if I am God, I am allowed to look you in the face and be like, you're wrong. But I'm not, and I don't know anyone who is. So we're all on even playing ground. We're all humans. We've all had different experiences. We've all grown up learning different things. And for us to have these kind of conversations is going to be the best way for us to get to some kind of good understanding, at least where everyone's at.
Yeah.
That's what matters. That's why we're here. So yes, I think if I'm understanding that correct, that's the kind of ignorance and the kind of egotistical that
I agree.
It boils my blood too.
Yeah.
It actually, I would argue it might boil my blood more than it boils yours because I'm like, guys, this is why people really hate Christians.
Really hate it, yeah.
So, cheers.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Matthew Canada. I'm a Christian. Let's get into my story.
Fantastic.
Yep.
It's so funny. It's just the amount of times I've told my story and it being a faith-based thing, really. Because before faith, I did not tell my story. I did not think I needed to tell my story. I did not think really anyone would care, and I didn't think anyone would care, at least until I was famous. That was a big thing for me. So,
we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I was going to say, I was
We're
just
getting
about
there.
to say that. Like, we're getting there.
I grew up, born in Kentucky, moved to Georgia when I was like
Wow, I already didn't know
4.
that.
There you go. Yep. most people are weirded out by that one just because whenever we talk about Georgia, I'm just like, yeah, I've been here my whole life. You know? So yes, I was born in Kentucky, Louisville. It's not Louisville.
Nope.
For everyone that wants to say Louisville, it is Louisville.
Welcome to the South, baby.
Yes, it is Louisville. Well, even people in the South say Louisville.
Louisville.
If you're not from Kentucky, you say Louisville 99% of the time. And I'm just, for your information, if you want to go into Kentucky and you want to talk about Louisville, say Louisville. People will be like, well, you might be from here. Get along great with people.
Louisville.
It's great. Yep, Louisville. Yeah, it's great. I have an older brother, a younger brother, and a younger sister, but that's a very recent development. So really, if we're talking about like how I grew up for the past 25 years, I've been saying I have an older brother and a younger brother. My parents divorced. They divorced when my mom was pregnant with me. My mom is a very stubborn human. She is a very, very wonderful human. She's like one of my heroes, but she is very strong-headed. I follow in her footsteps, if you will. But she decided she did not want to be with my dad. And despite being pregnant with me, she was like, hey, I'm going. And there's probably more to that story, but that's how I understand it. And it falls right in line for people that know my mom. I guess that sounds about right.
Wow.
Love you, Mom.
Wow.
Yeah. She's a fun woman. She's a very fun woman. She's very fun to grow up with. Because she loves as much as she is strong-headed and stubborn.
Well, yeah, it's just such a funny overlap.
Yeah.
You just think it's like...
Yeah. So when people talk about divorce, like I'm sure like for you, like going through something like that, you said like 7th grade or like right before 7th grade, you've been kind of conditioned to know the way that life is. Like, especially from a young age, like this is what you grew up knowing. Most people, like, I've gotten the question because when you say your parents are divorced, people are, oh, like, how was that? Are you okay? Blah, blah. I'm always just kind of like, yeah, I just
didn't know
grew
it
up
otherwise.
knowing
Yeah.
mom and dad. Like, this is what I do. And, but my mom moved down to Atlanta when I was probably 3 or something like that. Dad followed so that the kids me and my older brother wouldn't be kind of in like turmoil from that. We've grown up in Georgia ever since. I don't spend a ton of time talking about my like early childhood just because for me, I always say that, especially in high school, I remember in high school and in college or like right after high school, I always used to say like I felt like I had one of the best childhoods I could ever have.
Okay.
Like I grew up with my dad, who is a very solid man. Like, and we've talked about him before, but he's just very by the book. He's just a very good guy. Like when you think of a good guy, you think of James Canada. Like it's just who you think of. He's just takes care of his family, does what he's supposed to do, and provides and works hard and is a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone ever told me that my dad did anything wrong, I would just be like, "You're wrong." There are things that I think he can do better, but if he was like, "Your dad has actually murdered like 33 people," I'd be like, "Okay, show me all your evidence because you're gonna have to prove this over and over and over again because it's just he couldn't. He's that good of a
very
person."
drastic.
Good example.
I am very dramatic. That's who I am. So the one
Theatrical.
thing I do like to talk about with my childhood was I acted. I did track, I did sports, I did soccer. I scored 1 goal in my whole season, and I got taken off the field right after it because I was on defense, and my coach got mad at me. And then I played football. I was a running back. Shout out. I loved playing football. Still do. Except now I throw out my back whenever I try, and that's fun. And I'm only 28, but I feel like I'm 50. Work out. That's advice, personal advice. Continue to work out as you get older. It's necessary. I need to follow that advice. But no, I acted. Acting was like my big thing. Middle school, I was in Alice in Wonderland. I was a really small part. I was the Knave of Hearts, and I had like 3 lines. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I had seen my older brother acting, and I thought, that looks like what I want to do. That looks fun. So I did it. The next play that I was in Willy Wonka, and I was Willy Wonka. And then from then on, I was just the guy.
Yeah.
And it's weird. And I went to a small private school, so I was the guy amongst 100 other people. Not even 20 people, 30 people at most. So it's really not that impressive when you scale back. But I was always the guy. I was Oedipus in Oedipus. I was Lenny in Mice of Mice and Men. Other things, other plays. I was always, like, it was weird going into auditions, because it was like, all right, I'm going to do this audition again, and I'm going to go look at the thing and be like, there I am, there's my part, and it never failed. Like, so because of that, I had a very big head. I still struggle with pride, for the record, for anyone that knows me, and anyone that wants to know me better. I very much struggle with my pride. Especially when I get to know people. Like, that's when my pride really shows. If I don't know you, I come across really humble because I don't know you, and I pride myself in taking time to get to know people and understand who they are before my pride really kicks in. So, work in progress, as we all are. But because I always got the main roles, and because everyone always was like, "Oh, Matt, you did so good," blah blah blah. I thought, I'm gonna come out of high school. I'm gonna go be the next Brad Pitt. Tom Cruise.
Brad Pitt.
Golden, yeah, Tom Cruise at the time. We're going to be golden, 2000, 2000 to 2009.
Yeah.
And really all I had seen was like Jerry Maguire, and I still love Jerry Maguire. And yeah, Tom Cruise nowadays, no thanks. Sorry, Tom, if you listen.
No, I didn't even mean like. Sure, he's fine. It's like Brad Pitt's caliber of acting is so much higher.
Yeah. That's why I said sorry.
Yeah, Tom Cruise does like
undercut on Tom Cruise.
he does some.
He has his moments.
He does a lot of running.
God, we're talking about Tom now. We're making short jokes. He's so offended right now.
Hey, if we get bad publicity from Tom Cruise, I'm okay with it.
It's publicity.
It's publicity. So no, that was my plan. I was going to graduate high school. I was going to go be in movies, and I had no concept. Like, hearing you talk about you like going and doing like work on film is so funny because you had this at least like understanding of what the world was like and like where to go and what you could start doing and things like that. At least it feels that way to me. I was just like, I'm going to go be Brad Pitt. And really, it was like, why am I not already Brad Pitt?
Yes.
Like, where is the person that's going to like
Where's my agent?
happen to come into our small private Christian school play and be like, that kid's got talent. Let me go talk to him after the show. Like, that was really what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
It never happened. Definitely never got that moment, and I'm really thankful I didn't, because in
then you would
high
have been
school,
a childhood star, and then it would have been a disaster.
well,
You'd been on
my goal
cocaine.
was to be Entourage. Like, I was gonna go be him.
Yep.
And then me and my best friends were gonna be living in a mansion, living it up, and I was just gonna have sex with all the hottest women. And I was gonna have all the nicest cars, and just go do whatever the fuck I
It's a
wanted.
savage plan.
It was
It
goals.
was a pretty savage plan.
Well, my older brother introduced me to Entourage, and I think I just like it made sense in my head. Like, if you have money and if you have whatever you want, things are just there's no way it can't be good.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that it wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
At least in my head at the time, which is hilarious for people that know me now. I think, at least it feels like it would be. I don't know.
Well, it is. It's
Yeah,
funny. It's
it
funny
is.
to go. It's funny to think about that and
Yeah.
how you talk about it.
Matt
It's-
Canada living the Entourage life sounds hilarious to
So,
Dude, if I could, if I had a time machine. If I had a time machine and I could have worked with anybody in my high school career, I would have loved to see you in a musical that I worked on.
I was
that
in
would have been-
one musical, and I really didn't like them back then.
It would.
I wish I would have.
Maybe, okay, you could have been host on. You could have been anchors on
There you go, there
the
you go, there
TV
you
show. God, that would have been great.
It would have been. We would have been a team, man.
Too bad that wouldn't have overlapped college or
Yes.
high school years. So even if I did know you,
Be like, hey, you want to be in my Lego stop motion? Hold on.
You wanna do the
Matt,
voiceover
Matt, you
work?
gotta sing as soon as I press play. Go.
Yep.
Okay, stop. Okay. You gotta pick it right back up. That's good.
me.
That's good.
Man, that's amazing.
you can help me do the scrolling credits, which was a piece of paper and me going like this.
Oh my
God, if you find those, I need to see them.
Oh, dude, if we can find something that plays these little Sony discs.
Okay,
it-
well, that's
I'm for
that's
it.
a goal.
We gotta hit like
that's
a
a
first
mission.
shop or something.
Yeah, that's a
Find
mission.
something.
I had a whole series. So I know I taped over a lot of them with other
Yeah.
movies, but I made like at least 30
Okay, so
Star Wars films with like Boba Fett.
you know the YouTubers that do that stuff where they're like,
That's
go
why. That's how I
revisit
started.
old stuff.
Oh, revisit old stuff.
So we're gonna all sit down and watch those
Watch
and
mine?
discuss. Yeah. That's goals for its
I gotta find. Okay, there's one. There's a pretty badass shot in one of my films that I still remember, which is I had a Lego train on a track, and I taped the camera to the back train car, and I just pushed the train, and it was like a steady shot, and like it went around a turn and then lined up, and you could see the whole train, and I was like, this is badass.
That's pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sure there's a lot of sound effects that I made with my mouth at the time. No, but there's like bang.
I'm so excited. It's gotta happen.
If I find any, dude, I'm gonna cringe so hard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cringe so hard.
That's the point.
I still have my high school videos if you want to see those at any time.
I have my plays. So
Oh man, yes. Okay.
literally
Y'all are
hearing,
just about to like.
I have successfully burned everything. So
hearing you
Well, here,
talk about 3 remote controlled cameras and 2 people on camera.
Mm-hmm.
We had one guy who had his camera and he wanted to be a director.
Mm-hmm.
And Thorne, you are still a visionary in my mind. Like, I think he's great. He's done some really cool stuff since then. He's very passionate about what he does.
Yeah.
But he did not have access to the equipment, and all he had was his camera, and he would film from way back in the back of the theater, and so our quality is just like...
Love it.
That's the cringeworthy part.
Spot on.
Mint, bro. Mint.
See, I love it. I gotta find. I've got all my high school. I've got a lot of the high school videos.
We'll trade. We'll trade some cringe moments. It's good.
God, that's so good.
So high school. I was ready to go. This is kind of where we really jump into my story. Senior year of high school. Halfway through, I had my two best friends that I hung out with all the time. They were like, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I met my first best friend in elementary school, where he used to chase me and two girls around, and we thought he was the devil. Like a literal monster, and we were like, just stay away from that kid.
That's how you make friends?
We were not friends. And I don't know if he thought we were friends, but we really all thought he was just like, we need to stay away from him. And it was a game that we played all the time where he just would chase us and we would run, but it wasn't like, ha ha. It was no. Like, I don't want you to be around me. And then for some reason, he invited me over to his house in 6th grade, and we became best friends. I came into his house, and he had PlayStation 2, Xbox, a GameCube, and a Dreamcast, all hooked up to the same TV. And I was like, this is what I have been missing out on. Oh my God. This is all I do is play video games. This is perfect. And then his mom cooked the most amazing food, still does probably. And so all we did was just eat like gourmet food and play video games and watch anime, and that was like our life. And
Damn.
I lived at his house as much as I could. My dad would get mad at me like, Matt, you have to come home. I've only been here for a week, Dad.
Do I?
Like summer was outrageous.
Imagine.
So in 9th grade, another guy came into our school. We became really good friends with him, and we were the three amigos. We played World of Warcraft together. We watched anime together. Like, we hung out.
Friendships forged and wow.
Yeah, man. Yep. It was a strong bond. But Kyle, who was my best friend that I met in elementary school, became best friends with, he had an older sister, two older sisters who were much older than him. And so all the time, like, we were going to this private Christian school, and all the time his sisters would come over and have, like, parties at the house. There was a bunch of older people, like 25 and up, drinking, getting really drunk. They had a pool in the backyard. They looked like they were having a blast. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, Kyle and I were like, they would offer us drinks. They'd be like, hey, man, you want to drink? And we'd be like, no, we don't do that.
God, you're a way better kid than me.
We're Christian. We don't.
Come on now.
Like, that was the mentality. Like,
my mentality was almost identical, except it had nothing to do with faith.
That's
hilarious. It was just like, I'm good.
I'm good. I don't need that. So for me, it was completely faith-based. Like, I don't do that. But also, I think we're not supposed to judge other people. So, like, I'm fine with you doing it, and you're old enough to do it. That's fine. Yeah. But I don't do that.
That's such a catch-22.
And so it was really interesting growing up in that kind of environment. Senior year comes. I had quit football to act. I was prioritizing, but I stayed kind of like, I went to every single game, and I made myself my own school mascot. I'm Matt Canada. And because of that, like, stayed really close with all the people that I was playing football with, or relatively close. We made it to state playoffs my senior year. And we had made it before, but never won the first round. So we won the first round. And it was like the first time our school had ever done that with football. It was this big moment. And we made it to the second round of the playoffs, and then we lost. And
hold on. What if you win the second round, do you go to state? Maybe. Dude, if that's the case, my senior year was identical. I could literally I could get you in touch with someone who did the same move. Quit football, but was this mascot, my friend Brian, that literally just championed the football team.
We would be best friends.
We went 13-1. Or like 13-2. Yeah. We were beat by our sister school, Northern, and then which was so unfortunate because we were on track to be like 13-0.
We got crushed.
Oh man,
in the second round.
Sorry. No, but that was a regular season. And then we went to playoffs. First round, we won. Second round, I still think we would have had a chance had it not snowed. It was like inches of snow on the field, and I feel like the team we played had practiced in like a foot of snow because they were like great, and our team was like sliding around and had no, like it was bad. And then it was also I'm still so pissed at most of my class because like no one showed up because it was snowing, and it was like, dude, our football team was garbage every year the school's been here, and now we're finally 13-1. And I took it off work. I was going to Ford Field where the Lions play, and we were gonna see my team. And dude,
wow,
they got
you were in the
crushed.
Okay. Yeah,
they got crushed. And I'm still pissed. And we built snowman in the stands because no one showed up, so we made it look more packed.
That's hilarious.
That is the most extreme dedication ever.
It was great. And it just was so upsetting to see them get like blown out. Just
it was pretty hard.
It sucked.
We got destroyed.
Crazy that it's almost the same. Yeah.
So, I think right before that game, me and my two best friends finally decided, like, we're 18. I think I was 17 at the time. We're old enough to drink now. That was like the mentality. Like that. I don't know. That's at least how I thought. I thought I have. In Christian terms, I've abstained for long enough. I've been good, and I can now handle this. Yeah. I deserve to do it because I've been so good at not doing it, and I can handle it. And I remember I got just smashed off like 2 Mike's Hard Lemonades. Just downed them, and then I smacked his sister on the butt, and I got in trouble for that.
That's a savage move.
You were a fucking legend, bro.
I mean, for you guys,
what happened?
For anyone else that hears that, he got smashed off 2 Mike's Hard and hit his best friend's sister in the butt.
In compared to where you were to make the switch to getting smashed off 2 Hard Lemonade and smacking ass, you're a legend. That's a legendary swap right there.
Well, that's so good, though.
I will also tell the other smacking of the ass story that is involved. That one's not as fun. We're getting it. We're going deep, boys. Balls free.
Should they
free
be?
balling?
Free balling.
Balls out.
Balls out. Okay, so which just to put an actual like moment of seriousness on this, this is the kind of going deep that we talk about and why it matters. Like, get to know people. There's fun times involved in that, but get to know people.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, welcome to Matt Canada, man. I'm telling you don't know a lot about. This is great. This is why I'm excited that you're here. Because these guys have heard all these stories. I'm sure a billion times. I talk about things a lot. So we lost the game, and there was another friend of ours. Like I was kind of close to him, but they were playing football with him, so they were closer. Once we lost, we invited him over to drink with us. Like, and it was a private Christian school. It was like there was a group of kids that were being bad, drinking and partying and stuff like that, and it was very small, or at least it was known as very small. And so we invited him over. We all got drunk that night and just kind of like just passed out. And we were just like, "Oh, we lost. It's our senior year. Our run's over." Blah 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 blah. Whole nine. Good times. Being young. The person we invited over, was friends with like 6 other people who didn't just drink. They also smoked a lot of weed. This is where you really get to kind of know me because at 17 years old, I really did not know what weed was.
Oh, dude, I didn't
know.
I was so out of the loop. So out of the loop.
Long story short.
I'm 28 and I'm still out of the loop.
Bro, I was rolling cross joints at 17, bro.
Long story short, I went over to meet with all of them. So all the friends met up. So there's like 11 of us there, 9 of us there, whatever. And we were drinking, and then they were smoking weed. These new people that I knew, obviously, because they were at my school, but weren't really close with. And I remember someone looked at me, and I still love this guy today. He looked at me and he goes, "Here you go, man. You want to hit it?" And I went, "If you're doing it, you seem fine. I should do it. That seems fine." there's no processing involved in this moment. I guarantee, like I promise you, my brain was just like, sure. And I took it and I inhaled it, and then I held it in my mouth and I went, and I didn't go anywhere near my lungs. It just went in my mouth and I held it in my mouth and then I blew it out because I had no idea how to smoke.
Oh my God, that's great.
And then I smoked again right after that, except I hit a grav bong. And for all my smokers out there, you know what's going on. I got destroyed.
Yeah, baby.
If you want to hear more about this story, it's a fun story. Basically,
Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. I had such a fun time doing that and had no sense of where I was going. I just knew I wanted to go be an actor, but had no sense of where to go. And then I felt the pressure of, like, everyone's going to school, everyone's getting into college, everyone's doing all this stuff. Weed was like, I'm just going to escape this right now. I'm just going to go full into this. Mm-hmm. There were 9 of us in the group. 8 of them went to Alabama. Yeah. I was the only person that stayed home, and I was the only person, like, in my school that didn't go to college, outside of one other person who went to the Marines. Yeah. In the history of my school.
Oh, damn. Wow.
Look,
Trailblazer.
Cat.
That's so hard. That's that's amazing.
Cat Williams described it best in his stand-up. He said, "There's a special ingredient in weed called fuck it."
And that's what. That's
exactly what you experienced.
I loved that element, my friend.
You know what's so funny is that is the reason I stayed away from any substances. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything like that, because I know that I, at some point, could form a dependency on it, and then my production is just going to go.
So, great story for you then, to affirm that I smoked for 2 years. I did not go to school. I barely did any work. I ended up living in, so one of the people that went to Alabama failed out of first semester, ended up coming home.
That's worse than not going to college. Like you said, you've got a record.
Yeah.
He dropped out of college.
Yeah.
That's a ton of, yeah.
And so he came back and lived in his giant mansion, which we just talked about.
Ah.
And I lived there for a time. And all we did was just smoke. All day, all night. That's all we did. And it was hard for me because I thought I was just doing the only thing I knew I could. Like, at the time, I saw everyone else trying to do all these other things, and I had no idea where to go or what to do. And for some reason, escaping just felt a lot easier. So I escaped for 2 years. Eventually, one of the 3 amigos came home. Not Kyle, the other 3 amigo. He came back because Alabama is expensive as hell when you go out of state, and it was hard to pay and keep going. So he came back and actually watched me just like throwing my life away. Mm-hmm. He asked me to come to Kennesaw State with him, and I think anyone could have gotten me to do anything at that point. I'm pretty sure the conversation went, "Matt, you're not doing anything with your life. You're coming to Kennesaw State." And I went, "Okay, cool,
okay,
sure." For those on video, okay. I'm wearing a One Punch Man shirt, and it says "okay" on it. And for all my One Punch Man fans out there, thank God.
Yeah.
For all my not anime watchers, I am your lighthouse in the storm. Please stick with me.
Please stick with me. So I went to Kennesaw State. Ended up like moving in with my drug dealer, the person who became my drug dealer. So he just sold weed, and I just bought weed from him, and that's all I did in school.
It's the convenience.
Dad, I'm sorry if you don't know this. I've told other people this. I haven't told you this. Dad would give me allowance, and literally it would just be like, "Thanks, Dad. I'll use this for good things. Here you go, drug dealer. Please give me all the weed that I can get with that." And I will just smoke that weed all day, and I stayed high first semester. That's all I did. The 2 people that we moved in with, one was the drug dealer and one was his friend. Still love both of them, but that guy great guy. So it was 3 amigo, myself, and these 2 other guys, and we lived in this house up in Kennesaw. The 2 other guys were in a fraternity. Not a big fraternity guy, never have been. I tend to slightly shit on people who are, and in light of being open-minded and learning about other people, trying to shit on other people for what they enjoy. I'm learning that.
It's so funny because, like, I don't shit on the dudes that are in frats now, and I don't. It's never been, have fun, do your thing.
Yeah.
The people I do love to make fun of are like the 50-some-odd dudes with the fraternity plate over their license plate or like a sticker on their car. It's like, dude,
That's college.
get out of college. Like, forget it.
It's college. There's time to move on.
Like, I reminisce about,
Yeah.
my high school directing days and being like, it was fun. But, dude, chill out. You're done.
Corey and I are very similar, for those that don't know. We
Yeah.
think a lot of the same things, which is hilarious.
Yes. Which is why we immediately.
It was just, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
We're best friends now.
Yes.
Did we just become best friends?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So that's where I stayed. So for those 2 years and then moving into college for the first semester, I was really just escaping, running away from everything, not wanting to try anything new because I was safe where I was. Like, I had kind of made a hole for myself and I was just staying there, and it was comfortable and it felt good. And the two guys that we moved in with were really pressuring me and the three amigo to join the fraternity with them. They finally convinced me when they told me I didn't have to go through hazing because it was a new fraternity. I went, that's fine. I'll take the perks without having to go through that because it's not worth going through that for the thing that I don't really want to do.
That is a big appeal.
Yeah.
That is a big...
They sold me. So the bid night comes around. We do our little thing. They take us through the little traditions. And then they bring us up to my house for the bid party because it's a new fraternity. There's no house.
Right.
So our house was the party house. So we pull in, and I remember we weren't allowed to go upstairs as bids, but it was my house, and my room was upstairs. So I went upstairs, and I got a shot at the captain. And I had a beer, got my second beer, and was outside with the three amigo. We were smoking a cigarette. And I remember just being out on my little back porch, little tiny concrete slab that was our back porch. And it was a little run behind our house, and there were woods right behind it. And I remember looking up and then looking over to my left, and there was a cop walking up. And I remember looking over to my right, and there was another cop walking up. And then I remember looking forward where the woods were. These were woods, and there were cops walking through the woods. And I went, wow, this is not going to go well. There's no way this ends well. And I am the kind of guy who's very naive. Like, I didn't know what weed was at 17. Like, I'm not the kind of guy, even though I was an actor, people always kind of assume, like, you're good at lying. Like, you're good at acting. I'm like, no, I'm not that guy. I work really hard to get a part and become that person for that part, but then in real life, I don't like lying. And I'm really bad at it and get really nervous. So the cop walks up. One of the cops walks up to me and he goes, hey, can we come inside? And I was like, okay. Okay. And we all got arrested because most of us were underage. I think it was 21 people got arrested. And they put us in a paddy wagon. And we all sang Wagon Wheel on the way to jail. Yeah, this is
everybody was still drunk.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, that was a time. This is, again, more stories from that. We can revisit this later, but there's like details that go into that story that's really funny.
Legendary.
God dang it.
Yeah, and
that's so good.
Oh, it was super fun because we thought. I think the thought that ran through my head, one, like everyone was taking it really relaxed, but also the thought that was going through my head is like, people get arrested in college. It happens. Like, it's like your normal like underage drinking. Like, people expect that to a degree, so it's not going to be this huge crazy deal. My dad doesn't feel that way. So,
dude, that's so.
My dad got
totally. Hey, can we come in? No. Totally different story.
Totally different story. Maybe I would have been arrested, like for being there, like because I had a beer in my hand.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyway.
Oh man. Sometimes I wish I wasn't such a straight shooter, because then I could have stories like that. I really was just so like, nope. Nope, I'm gonna do that. Could fuck with my career.
And it's I think there's a stigma within Christianity of like having some of these stories can make it feel like, oh well, I can't believe you were this kind of person. Like I love my story.
Dude.
I
oh
love
my god, it's so
the way
good.
that it shaped me. I love the person I've become because of it, and I love being able to share these stories with people.
Yeah.
So my dad told me after bailing me out, he said, if you get arrested again, you're moving in with me or you're moving in with your mom, period. And I said, fine, I'm not getting arrested again. That was my one and done. We're good. Got my college arrest. It's fine. 6 months later?
Yep.
I think I had like just finished up like with my community service and all the stuff for the first arrest. And this is a little bit of a long story. So again, details, if you want to know, please ask me. I'll gladly share. And I can fill in on these details later. But I had a fake ID on me. Never used it, but I had it. And I also had alcohol in the car, and I was 20 years old. I was going like 90. Yes, I was going 90 on I-75, or I-75 North, going back up to Kennesaw from my house in Smyrna. And
90, that's normal.
Well, 90 and very viciously weaving in and out of traffic like
That's
an
not
idiot.
normal.
No, I was a very, very bad driver. Really just allowed a lot of influences to mess me up as a younger person. So fun times. I saw the blue lights come on.
Yep.
Pulled over, and I went, okay. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're just speeding. We're going to get a ticket, and it's going to be fine. And he comes up the window, and he came up to my passenger side window because
of highway.
Highway. And I, again, to kind of like show you, like I'm that kind of person that doesn't like get away with things. Like I'm not really good at getting away with things. I kept my fake ID underneath my ID.
Yeah.
So when he asked me to see my license and registration, I pulled out my ID, and he had the flashlight shining on my wallet. So I like gave him my ID, and he goes, "Great, thanks. Now can I see that other ID?" And I went, God. And I just went, again, like, I don't know my rights. Like, I'm just like, okay. And I hand him the fake ID, and trying to get a cop to believe a 20-year-old who is viciously speeding and weaving in and out of traffic, who has a fake ID that he's never used that fake ID, never going to work. In a million years. Sorry if you were thinking about trying to use that tactic later in life, just from example or from experience, it doesn't work. So I got arrested.
Damn.
And they found the alcohol afterwards because they're allowed to search my car once I get arrested. So it really didn't look good for me. No. I really want to have a conversation with that cop because I mean, he literally did change my life. Like, he's the spark that changed my life. But and so when I heard Shia LaBeouf was like having conversations with this cop, I was like, oh God, I wish I could have conversations with mine, like just so he could see like what he's responsible for. And anyway, that's a whole other conversation. So everything has come to a head here, and it's funny because all the time when I tell my story, I skip over this part because I'm just like in the flow of things and like going. I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, that was the most important part. So I'm stopping here. I grew up Christian. I grew up with my mom being Christian. I grew up with my dad being Christian. Both of my parents were forced to go to church. Were very like pushed into it, and it was like required. I would say my mom more so than my dad, and had a really, really bad experience. And so because of that, both my parents, even though they were divorced, really laid off, like, pressuring both me and my older brother to go to church. We went on like holidays every now and then because it was kind of like we should. It's nice to go. And I remember thinking, there were teachers, like you talked about having teachers that really affected you and were really, really great. And I had some teachers, I mean, obviously Shively, that I shout out a million times on this podcast, but people like that who really poured into me and instilled some really good things in me as well during that time period when I was younger. So I learned a lot about Christianity through school, but it was all just kind of like knowledge in my head. So like I would write papers that sounded really great, but it was just regurgitating information, and none of it were my own thoughts.
That's how you succeed in the education system, is regurgitating shit.
Oh, yes.
Bruh.
This is why we need to do our education episode.
If I did anything original, other than my TV broadcast class.
Yes. So the moment that the cop from the second arrest, the moment they put me in the back of the cop car, for whatever reason, I still don't really understand it to this day. I just had a moment of clarity, and understanding that like being arrested for the second time was just kind of like a hey, snap out of it. But for me, that moment of clarity was I prayed for what I call the first time. And I had prayed plenty of times before. But again, it was regurgitating. People told me to pray. This is how you pray. This is the way you talk to God. This is who God is, blah, blah, blah. And so my prayers before then were just very by the book. This is what I'm supposed to do. For the first time in the back of the cop car, I asked God, I told God, I said, hey, I'm messing this thing up. I keep going the wrong way. Everything that I'm trying is not working. I don't like where I'm at. So I'm going to give you my life. You got it. It's all yours. You take it in full. I don't want it anymore. I don't want anything to do with it. And I remember I kept speaking because I talk a lot. And I said, I don't know what this means to God. I literally said, I don't know what this means. I don't know how this works. So you're really going to have to help me out. Like, I don't know where to go from here. Right. I'm just giving you my life. So it's on you now. And even though I was being arrested for the second time, even though most people in my situation at 20 years old would feel like I'm just a fuck up, my life is screwed, all this stuff, I was at peace. More peace than I've ever felt in my life, probably, except for one other time after I gave my life to God. And I just remember the thing that snapped me out of it was having to hear that my bail was $5,700, and then having to tell my mom that my bail was $5,700. Because I didn't understand bail bonds and all this stuff, so I just thought, I'm charging my parents $5,000, almost $6,000 because I'm an idiot. Damn it! That was hard to deal with. Yeah, my dad was not happy when he bailed me out the second time, and as promised, I spent 12 hours in jail both times I was in jail, and I got out of jail. I didn't sleep.
Jail fucking sucks. Way too cold to sleep.
It does.
It's way too fucking cold to sleep.
Oh man, I love that we shared that. Like when I was like, dude, how cold was it? And you were like,
miserable.
It's
so fucking cold.
So I spent 12 hours the second time as well, and it was overnight because I got arrested at like 9 p.m. I got out at like 9 a.m. and my dad took me home, got a second car, and we both drove up to Kennesaw and moved me out. So I didn't sleep in jail, and then the whole day, next day, I just was moving myself out of my house in Kennesaw. That was a fun conversation to walk in and have with the three amigo. He goes, hey man, where were we? We were calling you all night. I went, I was in jail, and now I'm moving out.
So
right now.
It's been real.
Not like next week, I'm gone. So, sorry. That was fun. That was a fun time.
Jacob, you know what's not cold? Our house. Like, I've never, I don't know, I haven't been in a jail cell. But, like, have you?
No, it's great,
That's
actually.
That's crazy.
It gets really warm. Especially when it's snowing outside.
Dude, like, when you're in jail and you're cold, everybody that walks by with a jacket is an asshole. Everybody. Fucking everybody. And, like, all the night guard comes in with, like, their big-ass puffy sheriff's jacket, and you're just sitting there in your T-shirt.
You were in a lot longer than I was.
Fuck you.
Like for like 3 days, right? Or something?
Yeah, almost
2
3
days.
days.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, yours, oh, God.
I gotta do something.
You're going to have to tell a story now. I don't know if you were
Oh, yeah, I was going.
because we got to clear that up. But anyway.
What did he go to jail for?
This is kind of the end of my story because for me, sharing my like Christian faith and journey is more so about like, that's conversations I want to have with people one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's conversations that if you want to know where I'm at with that, like how I got to be where I am and why I believe what I believe, like I'll share a little bit here, but for the fuller picture, message me, reach out to me, whatever it is, talk to me.
At me, bro.
At me, please.
Well, that's what I left a lot of personal out of mine.
So when I gave my life to God in the cop car and I got moved out, I came home, and when I tell you I didn't know what to do, I didn't know to pray. Even though I was praying before, it was hilarious. Like I was praying, and I like told my dad to pray when I was younger, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know I needed to start praying. I didn't know I was supposed to start reading the Bible. I didn't know to start going to church because I grew up with these things being like told to me, but it was never the essentials. Like it wasn't what we did. So like I knew nothing, and it was all on God. I said, God, you got to do this. You got to show me how to do this because I don't know what I'm doing. And this girl that I met before I started drinking and smoking, and then watched me go through all that, reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to go to church with her. And I thought it was a date. And this was the girl that, like, the 9 of us, we all talked about, like, if there was one girl that we wanted to marry,
Oh my
it
God.
is that girl.
Yep.
And so she invited me to church, and I'm thinking, I've cleaned my life up. I'm changing.
Score.
I'm going to get married to this girl. We're going to go on a date. It's going to go great. And then we're driving down to church, and she's driving, and I'm in the passenger seat. And she goes, yeah, when we get down there, you'll get to meet my boyfriend. He's really great, blah, blah, blah. And I went, that is no longer an option. That has to go out the window.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to church now.
I cannot not believe that she knew what she was doing.
Probably.
No, she's clever. That's
Very
smart.
clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
So we got to church, and it was like a college day, like a Wednesday night. And the youth pastor got up there, and it's crazy that I still remember it as vividly as I do, but he said, if you believe in Jesus, then you don't need to worry about anything anymore. Maybe not in those exact words, but that was the message. And I went, okay. I just gave my life fully to God. I'm going to try that out. I'm just going to stop worrying about everything. Because I don't need to. That's what you just told me. That's who God is. Cool. I got a job at Chick-fil-A. And when I tell you, like, it's kind of the stigma in, like, Christian faith, at least with the people that I've been around, where, like, if you are trusting in God and you are just worry-free and you have joy because you don't have to worry about anything because God's there. God who created the universe is watching over you and you're good. If you were believing that and you're just worry-free, then people are like, why are you so happy? And you get to be like, God? And that happened to me. The crazy thing for me and the thing that really made me say, okay, I am choosing to put my faith in God was for that first year after being arrested, I can count on more than 2 hands, I think, situation after situation after situation that was crazier than anything else I've ever experienced in my life. Moments where I would have thoughts and then things would happen. Moments where I would be praying for someone and something happened. And these were personal stories that I had, not something that I was hearing from other people. And for me, it was like, okay, God, I told you I was giving you my life. I put my faith in you, and now this is crazy. And it's not just one thing where I'm like, I'm going to hold on to that one thing. It's like, that was crazy. Holy crap, 2 weeks later, that was crazy. Holy crap, a month later, that is crazy. And for me, it was like, okay, I don't understand everything. I don't get everything. I know nothing. But I know that I'm putting my faith here, and I'm going to keep it here because I gave you my life. I put you to the test, and you proved it to me. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to that story. A lot more has developed since then. You grow, you learn, you experience challenges, and you really wrestle with your faith. And that's who I am. I literally want to love and care about and help and inspire as many people as I possibly can with the time I have on earth. Yeah. And that is my goal, and that is what I want to do. And that is, I don't care how I have to get it done. Like, I want to do it. And so that's why we're here. That's why I'm here. That's why we do what we want to do. So my story has shaped me to be here.
I think that story, it's so good, but what would be really funny is, like, the next time you retell it, just leave out the part where you actually, like, go to church.
Yeah.
And your, like, come to Jesus moment is getting a job at Chick-fil-A, which is, traditionally thought of as like God's hand is in Chick-fil-A. So if you
promote Chick-fil-A, just like Chick-fil-A
changed my life.
Changed my life,
dude.
Which it did, but not.
But right, it would be so funny.
I like it. I can get behind it. Najee, it's on you, man.
All right. Well, this has been Across the Table. It's great talking to you guys.
We are at 2 hours and 16 minutes. So
holy shit, that is a thing.
Yeah, we're long-winded. Sorry.
Hey, sometimes that happens.
What do you want to do?
You don't have a choice. Keep on going.
3-hour podcast is pretty hefty.
We'll cut it in
We can split it in two.
We can do it in 2 parts. Yeah. That works.
Definitely.
How are you on time?
Before I have to work?
Yeah.
I got to 4.
Okay, so, okay.
It's
Tell your story.
1:21, yeah.
We'll cut it into 2 parts.
Yeah.
Stories part 1 and part 2. Take it away.
Party. All right. I am from the second greatest state in the country, New York.
What's first?
Is definitely Washington. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But I had a fucking legendary childhood. My childhood was like something out of the Goonies.
I really do. Like, when you talk about your childhood,
my childhood
I
was
kind of
fucking
like that.
epic.
Yeah.
Like, so I started off kind of introverted. Like, growing up, I played just to myself. I didn't really have a whole bunch of friends. And then I think probably after like 2nd grade or something like that, I started just kind of branching out and hanging out with everybody. And we just had the craziest adventures. Like, we started a forest fire. That was a thing that happened. It was an accident, but it was like a real, like, huge fucking forest fire.
I was not expecting that one.
Multiple fire departments, police.
Oh my
shit
God.
got real.
I've only heard that story one time.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
all of us got put on hush mode. Like, we all collectively, like, we made a pact. We were like, hey, this is where we were. This is what the fuck we were doing. Nobody talks.
So collectively,
It was
if we
like-
answer the question, what's the worst thing you've ever done?
Forest fire.
That's gotta be up
God
there.
dang.
I was just talking to my mom about it the other day. And she's like, I remember that day. I was so fucking pissed at you guys because I knew you did it. I was like, yeah, but we didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Nobody came forward. We were locked tight. Like,
Oh, man.
but that was pretty dope. Like, we all throughout third through 5th grade lived in a huge apartment complex, and it was just all families. So it was kids of all ages. There was always something to do. There was always places to hang out, and we always got into fucking trouble. But we had fun. It wasn't until after 5th grade we moved here. My mom goes, hey, we're moving to Georgia. I was like, first of all, what the fuck is that? Second of all, why? And third, what is that?
Yeah.
she's like, oh, it's down south. I was like, but why?
The country or the state?
But why? Like,
Yes.
so, we packed everything up, moved down here for the 6th grade, and I'm mad for like one solitary reason that I'm not gonna lie. I still I love my mom and I'll hold this against her, but there's like this tiny little thing in my heart that's crushed every time I think about it. So soccer, I started playing at like 5. And I was really fucking good. And I got recruited when I was like 11 to be on this like elite team, and we smashed people's faces for 2 years in a row. Like, we went undefeated our entire regular season the entire time I played. So at this point, as far as Eagles are concerned, I'm fucking Lionel Messi. Like, I can't be touched. But when we moved, obviously I left the team. And just short thing, that team, 2 years after we moved down here, got invited to go play a tournament in Spain for 2 weeks. So it was pretty salty.
Yeah.
It took 2 years to be salty about it, but when I got the email from my friends, were like, hey, dude, we're in Spain, I was like, fuck. Oh,
Yeah, I'd be
that
mad.
sucks.
Yeah, I would be really mad too.
That's like people telling me they got to go to Disney in like elementary school and middle school. And I'm like,
dude.
what's
but-
a stone or mountain top cove, sharp top cove? I thought it was cool at the
Dude.
time, but then you're going to Disney
You
or
know what?
Europe.
Well, we every year. So there's like Cedar Point is the big roller coaster park.
Yeah.
And then the smaller counterparts of that is Michigan Adventures, which is in Michigan, and that was like the big trip every 6th grade class took. And in my year, they canceled it because they were like, "There's no educational gain from this."
Oh, that's so fucked up, dude.
And then it was awful. And then I think the next year they brought it back. And there was a couple times. There was a couple times they did that to my grade. My grade was passed over for something. So then, the big thing was it was
fucked.
state mandated. Yeah, exactly. It was
Seriously?
dude. My class was like, fuck this grade. Like it was awful.
Yeah. It sucks.
And then there was another. Oh man, what was it? In it was state mandated that every kid had to take 2 years of a foreign language. They started that in Michigan, and then the year after me, if I graduated class of 2017, I would not have had to take a foreign language, which was like a huge hit to my
To be fair, like, it's probably a good thing that
it should be required in elementary school when kids are apt
When
to
it's
learn that
easier
stuff.
to learn
Yeah,
a
not
second
when
language.
I've learned all English and then they're like, hey, here's Spanish 1, porque.
So-
What?
What I want our listeners to take away from this is, if you go and listen to every single one of our episodes, you will get the education podcast within all of them.
Yeah, literally.
Like little bits and moments is the education podcast.
Yeah.
oh man.
See, I wasn't even there for that. We need to re-record it, and then
know.
I can
There you
talk.
There you go.
So yeah, now I'm down south. I'm a northerner, like city boy, northerner. I was born in Queens, New York, so I'm all the way city.
Yep.
Down south, in like what to me, off first glance, like I didn't think it was going to be that extreme, but I genuinely felt like I was in Mableton, which if anybody who knows Mableton, it's pretty suburb,
Yeah.
but it felt like fucking farmland to me. Like
Mapleton
no
is-
buildings around. I'm like, what? Why is your yard so big? What the fuck is this? Why are we?
Yeah, it's a big transition there.
Where's the public transportation?
Seriously, oh my
Where
god,
is
that
the
was the worst.
public
That was
transportation?
the absolute worst. It was like, where's the bus? My mom's like, there are none down here. It's like, what the? Why are we here?
Here.
Why the fuck are we here?
Do they provide horses? Where do I go?
Provide horses.
Why do we come to this post-apocalyptic land
yeah.
of
I
Georgia?
wish.
So yeah, like getting down here, the only dope thing was, or not dope thing, the shitty thing was school there is like a month behind when they start.
Mm-hmm.
So we start school in September, we end in June, but you guys start in like fucking August.
Mm-hmm.
So I got down here and my summer got like chopped in half. So I was pissed about that. I was so fucking
2
pissed.
weeks.
No.
2
Do
weeks.
not take away a child's summer, okay? That means everything.
Yeah, it does.
When I grew up and started like actually understanding like the concept of time, because summer felt like when you're a kid, summer felt like half the year,
Yeah.
and then school felt like the other half.
The other half, yeah.
And then when I got older, and I was like, man, summer just started.
Like, we're getting-
and then I was like, and then I actually looked at a calendar, and I was like, it's 3 months.
Yeah, no. Everybody has had that realization that they've been getting fucked this entire
It's
time
not
for
half
summer
the year.
break.
It's not half the year that I'm free. It's 3 months.
Yeah, it is not
I was
not
supposed to
fun.
meet someone at 2:00. This is gonna be fun.
Cheers. It's snowing, so there's your excuse.
Yeah.
But so yeah, luckily registration was weird, so I got my extra 2 weeks. But I don't know anybody down here. I didn't do anything, so I just watched movies for 2 weeks straight. Yeah, go for it. And so finally get into school, and I'm just so far out of my element that I like sunk completely into a hole for like my first month of school. I didn't talk to anybody. I just went to school, did my work, went home, did homework,
Yep.
played games, or watched movies. Like I didn't talk to anybody until I met like 2 of still my best friends now. I just call them family. Joe and Lewis, these 2 Mexican dudes that lived like 5 houses down from us. I don't remember. There's a debate on how we became friends, and that's a story I'll share with you guys later. It's hilarious. But after we got close, dude, it was like the group of friends I had back in New York, but now we were older, and so the shit that we got into was way worse. But it was still fun. We had the time of our fucking lives. Like we've made jackass videos. We did. We used to run from this fucking dog all the time. We stole this guy's python once, like
my God.
from his house. We shot at some kids with BB guns. We used to do that all the time, though. We used to have.
Oh,
like,
you were
wars
the
against each other.
guy. I was like, I saw people doing that one time. I was like, these fucking assholes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was kind of a dick.
So the group of friends that I was with, we used to drive around, and they would take eggs, and they would just throw them at people's houses from the moving car.
Yep.
God, that's so hard.
We took the
I
paintball
wish
gun.
I did anything.
I will say, this is awful. This is horrible. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Please don't do this. Terrible. But it was so impressive at the time. Same guy. We're driving on the road. And he goes, watch this. He took an egg and went out the passenger window and hit an oncoming car. Windshield. I was like, that's horrible. But how did you? He
But
called
wow.
it. He was like, watch it. Crazy. All right, sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty legendary. It's pretty
God
dope.
damn it. I didn't do anything like that.
And it's really not worth. That one's not worth it. I promise.
God. Oh,
So yeah, we got super close. Our families got super close.
Yeah.
Like it worked out well. It's like we just made like lifelong friends out of them. That is where I first started. Very tiny amount of adventuring, like into drugs and alcohol. Like very, very small amount. Like we stole a Bud Light and we were like, "This is dope." Middle schoolers. That's just middle school vibes.
Not
like
getting smashed onto
No,
Mike's
no,
heart
no,
and
no.
hitting a girl.
we stole a Bud Light.
dude, no, see, man, that's where I like.
Yeah.
That's
And,
where
like,
I excel.
literally,
Is like
I-
getting out of shit. She'd be like, "Did you just smack my ass?" I'd be like, "Yeah, there's a fly. I'm sorry."
It was a fly
I was just like,
on your head.
yes.
And it
I was
felt
like, yes, I
great.
did.
But no. So yeah, we got really close. Started doing our adventure and stuff there. And then after 8th grade year, we had like, basically, we kept moving in the process, but we moved to like completely different districts. So they went to different high school than I did. And I wound up at Campbell, right next to where the church is, which is just still hilarious to me to think about.
Pretty hilarious.
It's so funny to think about. But so I wound up at Campbell. Freshman year, it was like a reset again, but like I was at least used to Georgia. I knew how to make friends, and that was with pot, period. Like you can make friends instantly if you smoke weed. So,
Dude, that was huge when
Yeah.
I moved down here
Seriously.
like 2 years ago. People would be like, "Do you smoke?" And for a long time, it took me a while to adapt to. They're not talking about cigarettes. They're not talking about cigarettes.
Yeah.
I was,
about
do you,
tobacco.
do you smoke? I was like, no, man, I fucking hate cigarettes. And they're like, no, weed. And I was like,
No.
no, still no.
Still
but,
no, dude.
But it
But
took
yeah.
me so long
No.
to switch to rewire my brain to when I hear it now, I think of weed first and then cigarettes later. It took so long.
That's funny.
So like I think it was like 3 weeks before freshman year started, I met this dude, my homie DJ, skated. I was huge into skateboarding, by the way, all throughout middle school and a little bit into high school. He was a skateboarder, and he was like showing me all his tricks, and he was showing me around the neighborhood, and I was like, dope, like I'll chill with this guy. And he was like, you smoke? And I was like, yes, I do.
Oh, yes.
And that started the epic saga of marijuana in my life, of like 2 solid years of damn. My sophomore year was the most intense, though. I'm semi-proud of it. I guess I shouldn't be, but I am still semi-proud that I made it through the entire school year stoned out of my mind and still came out with like a 3.6 GPA.
Wake and bake?
Yes. Wake and bake.
I
Midday-
loved my wake and
Midday
bakes.
bake and bake before I go to sleep. Like,
I didn't have that much weed.
we smoke so much weed.
Your dad's allowance is not that much.
Didn't afford me that much weed. Just enough to wake and bake and midday bake.
Well, one of the most epic, this is a tangent, but the most epic month of re-ups we ever had was selling oregano to this group of girls who had
my
no
God.
fucking idea with weed was. For an entire month, bro. We made $500 off of them. And we just went and bought more weed for ourselves.
Yeah.
It was great. It was the most perfect setup.
Were they smoking
ever.
oregano?
Yes. But we were,
But,
look,
but here's the thing.
we
okay,
were smart
after the
though.
after the first few times you smoke that, let's say you're completely
do you go
oblivious
half and
to
half?
it, and you don't feel a high.
Well,
When do you question
well, no.
the quality
this
of your
is
weed?
Because this is what we understood about high school girls who claimed to smoke weed. They didn't actually smoke. They
Yeah.
pulled a Matt. Like Matt's first time smoking.
Yeah.
And I used to yell at girls in high school for that. I used to get so fucking pissed.
You're wasting weed.
That's 25 cents right there. You better inhale that weed. Do not waste my weed. It's not cheap.
God damn, that's not cheap.
But yeah, for like an entire month, we re-upped with $500 worth of oregano sales. It was great. But
And thus the businessman Najee was
yeah,
born.
yeah, that was my first moment of entrepreneurship right there. So
We're not,
That's
we're,
knowing
we're
your
not that way
demographic.
now.
no,
We're
no,
not
no.
duping you to
That's
get
not
you.
that's not what we do. So my entire sophomore year, I kept good grades, but my behavior was shit. I was an asshole. I was a complete asshole. I have apologized to my mom numerous times for it, but I had hit like the most extreme I'm a man stage I think you could ever hit, to the point where like she almost beat me real bad one day. I'm glad she restrained, but and she would have been well within her right. So that got me sent off to New York City for my junior year of high school. She's like, fuck it, go and live with your dad for a year, And she got me good because she was like, "You're going up for summer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go up for summer, spend time with my dad." I was like, "Hey, when am I catching the flight back?" She was like, "You're not." And I was like, "Oh.
God, that's savage.
Fuck, are you serious?" And I she did that to me and she hung up and I was like, "She's got to be joking." And I called her back. She's like, "No, I'm serious. You're staying there for your junior year." I was like, fuck. Okay. Yeah. Like, okay.
Okay.
Oh, man. So, New York was good and terrible. I was talking to Jacob about how to say this on the podcast. So, we landed on, I was a pharmacologist entrepreneur while I was in New York.
Pharmacologist entrepreneur, yes.
And that
I'm
was
familiar with the profession.
Yeah.
It seems to be getting more popular nowadays.
It's really on the rise.
Yeah. So,
Legal.
I know. It is, oh, Jesus.
Fun
So,
times. Past selves.
Yes.
Stories,
So,
man. God, get to know people. It's great.
Yeah, so that was the thing I did. I think it was after, like, my first couple months there, like, after meeting some people. I just went back to what I was used to. Like, I smoke weed. I drink. I chill. I found more people that did that, which eventually was going to lead to pharmacology. So I did that pretty strong for a long time, and it changed me, like, big time. I went from, I wouldn't say, like, I was a soft person, but I was pretty decently soft-hearted. Like, I was relaxed and chill. And that whole experience up there was like, you just couldn't be. That's just not a thing you could be while being a pharmacology entrepreneur.
Nope.
So I went through some pretty tough shit up there, which I could expand on, but I don't want to take too much time. If you want to know, at me.
I say we're putting it in 2 episodes. Like,
Yeah.
Just take your time, man.
So that was an ordeal. Dad never found out because I've always been smart about how I did things. He probably did know, though. He just never told me he knew.
He
I don't
seems
know.
like he's smart enough.
Parents usually just know shit and they don't tell you they know.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's one of those things, if he knew, he probably would have swooped in pretty soon.
That's fair.
Pretty early on. So yeah, needless to say, it got real bad. I made it through my junior year somehow alive, thank God, because there were moments where I definitely shouldn't have. And I called my mom, I think probably the second day after school ended, and I was like, "Mom, fuck this. I gotta come home. Please. I'm so sorry. I don't care. Whatever you want me to do, I will come home." She's like, "Good. Come on back." So, get back down here. Senior year, I don't wind up back at Campbell, which I was sad because they had moved again up to Kennesaw, which put me at Cal High School. And when I got to Cal, I had decided that I was going to be, like, a good kid, but I was still going to smoke weed. But I was going to be a good kid. I was gonna
Very
hold
doable.
those two things
Very
in tension.
possible, yes.
Absolutely. So I got there, I was like, all right, my grades are great. I'm going to smoke a little weed, but, my grades are still great. Oh, shit, tangent. Sorry, I almost forgot the story. It's a great story. My mom thought I was smoking weed my sophomore year because my little brother snitched. Not his fault, okay? He was put in a terrible position. And to this day, I tell my mom that is not fair that you did that to him. But
My mom did that to me. She definitely tried to get me to, like...
Yeah. She knew he would snitch. It wasn't hard to pressure my brother at that age.
Yeah.
It's like... So she found me and my sister both out. And that day, she had took him out. We used to do this thing called Mommy and Me Days. So she's like, each kid gets their own weekend to go do something. Mm-hmm. And it just happened that it was his weekend. And so me and Star were at home, and we were like, "We'll smoke." And she was like, "Fuck yeah." So we smoked. We got our cat high. That was funny. So we smoked. We're super stoned. They get home. It's like late at night. And like you can see on my brother's face, he's dealing with a very deep stress. And I'm like, huh. But I'm high, so I didn't think that much of it. I'm just like, he looks sad. And I just went on about my day. And then she goes, "Star, come on, I need to talk to you." And I was like, okay, hold up. I know I'm high and I might be a little bit paranoid right now, but that looked bad.
Okay, here's the thing that's always left out of high stories is that everyone but you knows you smell like weed.
Absolutely. 100%.
So, like, that's the only thing I can think about when people tell these stories. And it's like, I'm stoned out of my mind. They're going to ask me if I'm stoned. It's like, they don't have to ask you.
They know.
You smell like weed.
Yeah.
So, gets my sister, and they go for a whole ass drive. Like, I'm in the window, I'm high, and I'm looking at the car, and I just see them drive off, and I'm panicking. Like, it's so many thoughts are running in my brain right now.
Yeah, you are.
I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. This is crazy. They finally get home. It feels like it's been 5 hours. They've been gone for like 20 minutes.
She goes on the computer and every Google search is how to not be high, how to get not high.
My sister walks in the door, and she goes, we're fucked. I was like, oh no, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He's like, she knows, dude, just go down there. She wants to talk to you. And I was like, fuck, I gotta talk to my mom about smoking weed while being high. Yeah, no. This is fucking impossible. But we're gonna try it anyway. So she makes it the most dramatic thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. And I'm high, so it's hilarious to me. So we're driving in dead silence right now. I know this is terrible, but we're driving in dead silence. And she drives up to like you know where Smyrna Circle is? The library? Mm-hmm. She drives up to the library parking lot. She throws the car in park. And I shit you not, like, it's this dramatic. She throws the car in park. She turns and she repositions herself. And she looks me dead in my eyes. She says, I know you've been getting high. Oh my God. I wanted to lose my shit so bad. It took I literally, like, I had to cut and turn and stare at the window. Because I knew that if I looked her in the eyes again, I was going to laugh so hard in her face.
That's almost as bad.
It was going to be so much worse.
That's almost as bad as if she had used, like, slang that wasn't there. Yeah. She's like, I know you're smoking the ganj. And it's like, oh, fuck. How do I not laugh?
Oh, my God, bro.
I know you've been doing the reefer.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude.
You smell like reefer.
I was crying. I was literally crying. And there are parts of me, I never asked her, I need to ask her now, but there are parts of me that feels like, I think she thought I was crying because I got caught, and I was genuinely crying because I was laughing. I was laughing that hard. So,
because then you get the slight sympathy card.
Oh,
like,
my
God. I
God.
made him cry. Okay, he really feels bad.
Oh, my God. I ditched that sympathy card, though, because we got home, and she's like, you're going to stop smoking. And I was like, no. She's like, all right, get out. I was like, cool. I went and stayed at my friend's house, and we smoked a lot more. But
my God.
Just, like I said, I was kind of shitty my sophomore year. Yeah. But anyways, senior year, turning over a new leaf. I got cool with people the same way. Smoked weed. But it was like, how do I put this delicately? Campbell was a lot more mixed of a school. Mm-hmm. Kel was like mostly white people. Which is like chill. Yeah. Which is chill, but they're like, it was a different level of smoking weed and partying than I was used to, because we got into a whole lot of bullshit whenever we partied, and theirs was like, tame. I don't know. I guess the best way I could describe it.
Oh, our parties were super tame. Yeah. It was just everyone come over, smoke a lot of weed, and just go.
And it's not to say that nothing ever happened in them. It's just by comparison, it was pretty lax. So I got close to people, and that's where I had, like, my first love, so to speak, the first heartbreak. And that was crazy. All throughout this process, I don't know, I was supposed to mention this at some point earlier on. I'm sorry, there's so much to this fucking story. But all throughout this process, the one thing I will mention is I think it took me a while into my adulthood to realize that drugs and stuff like that were early on in my life because I was medicating for something I didn't know I had until after high school, which is when I first got diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And I was like, well, fuck, that sucks. Like, I remember having my first panic attack. All my friends were at my house. We were in Kennesaw, and I genuinely felt like I was having a heart attack. And I panicked, and everybody called the cops, and the paramedic walked in. He was like, you had a panic attack. I was like, okay, what the fuck is that? He's like, it's like a heart attack, but you're not dying. Like, what kind of bullshit is this? This is a thing? He was like, yeah, it's attached to a condition called anxiety. And I'm like, well, great, cool, I'm broken. But so yeah, that kind of spilled into, I don't know, I guess that kind of started my awareness of what was going on with me. I had been medicating a lot none of that stuff ever got the chance to bubble to the surface until all that stuff came around. So, hard part of the story. I'll make it quick. I'll share more about it. After high school, I attempted suicide for the first time, I think, 4 or 5 months after I graduated. And that was a huge, crazy thing. Which after that, my friends had I don't know, it was a crazy ordeal. It's weird talking to them now about it because it was like getting their perspective on it. But like my buddy Tom, who like never cried, was like bawling tears at my bedside. And it was a lot in the moment. But they had like dedicated, and this is why I love them. They're literally amazing friends. After all that went down, they had literally dedicated like the next year to they forced me to get out of the house. They forced me to do everything. Like I was always with them. They were always checking on me, and it was awesome. So move out of that, I moved into like a new relationship after all this stuff went down. Very toxic one that I shouldn't have been a part of, but it's a story for another time. And it kind of led to not positive things. Sunk back into smoking weed again, which, by the way, the girl I dated in high school got me to quit. So kudos to her. It was impressive. She was very pretty. It wasn't hard to convince me at the time. It's like, we can't keep dating if you keep smoking. Sweet. Done. That's just
cold turkey.
Cold turkey, baby. Cold turkey.
Man.
So yeah, and that led me kind of back down that path.
You go, anything else while I'm at it?
Yeah.
Anything else I need to stop
it's yours. The world is yours, okay?
Oh, my God.
So anyways, getting with that girl in that relationship kind of led me back down that road again. And then drugs has kind of started to become, I don't know if I'd say I abused them. I was right on the cusp of like being abusive with drugs. It was really close. Like I would just reel myself in, chill for a little bit, and then jump back in. But that brought me to my second attempt after like crazy shit went down there. Again, long stories. So if you want to know more, at me. And then after that, I think it wasn't but a few months later, I made a third attempt. And that was like the one that was like, look, something's got to fucking give. Like, obviously, when you try, it doesn't work. So, like, you got to try something different. So it's like, okay. And my mom pressures me really hard. She's like, you're going to fucking college. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, same moment. She's like, you're going to college. I was like, all right.
Okay.
Chill. I'll go to college. So I got to college, and I'm going to try and speed this up because this is a lot. But I got to college. I did like all the generic courses, and that's where I met like my best friend, Colin.
Colin.
Yes, my best friend Colin, who is the reason why I know everybody here.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, you met Corey through us.
Through you, yeah.
Through you. Who? Yeah.
Yeah, literally. It's just one decision can change your life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
So in college, we had communication and government together. And I love sharing this story because it's funny to me. The first time I walked up, like, you know how like it's your first day of college, everybody's like gathered outside the room and like talking and sharing, whatever. So everybody's doing that, and there's like a normal group of people doing that, and then there's Colin, who's like on a bench with his reading glasses on, reading the Bible. And I literally looked at him and was like, me and that guy will probably never fucking be friends.
That's a hard move. That's
hard
dude,
pass.
Throwing on your reading glasses and cracking open the Bible.
The Bible on a college campus at a picnic table in front of a large group of students.
To be fair, he's a lot older. He's, especially than you at the time.
Yeah, because I was 18, 19.
And he would have been
24, 25,
yeah,
something like that.
So
there was a gap.
It's still a hard move.
That's still savage.
Oh, yeah.
Still a hard move.
It's still so
But
good.
And I literally looked at him and was like, me and that guy will never fucking be friends. Like, like, the idea of me talking to a Bible thumper, it's where that was in my brain was like, no. I still to this day don't know what happened in class, like our third day in communication, but he said something and I died laughing. And we became instant friends after that. It took one joke. It was probably something that was super inappropriate that just completely destroyed the image of Bible thumper in my brain.
No, Colin, that's exactly what it was.
I was like, me and this guy could definitely be friends. So I think we hung out only like twice outside of school before he invited me to the square. Yep. I grew up in church my whole life. Church up north was dope as fuck. I will say that. Church.
Heard good things.
Yeah, we went to Oh no, don't forget the name. I forgot the name. It was epic. It was an old high school that converted into a church. So like the kids' church was literally all the gym and like all the like K through 5 area was just ours. It was epic. We had like dope pastors. We had crazy events. We did like our own Fear Factor. It was lit. It was a lit church. Like, but you know, going through that whole process, everything that I went through, me and God just weren't a thing for a long time, and I didn't care to be a part of it either. So it was interesting going to the square and being like, all right, so I just met this dude. He seems chill. He's a chill dude. He's a Bible thumper, but he's chill. He's invited me to a church. There could be more Bible thumpers that are chill, but I'm really not sure what to do here. So I don't know if I ever told him this, but I literally went home and talked to my mom about it for like 20 minutes. I was like, is this normal? Is this a thing? This is a normal thing that people do. Do you like meet somebody and then invite them to go to church? Is he weird? Is he uncomfortable? And then the best part is she's like, if he tries anything weird, just call me and I'll come get you. And I was like, okay, Mom, I think I'll be fine. But yes. So we're going to church. And for me, like traditionally speaking, when you go to church, you dress up. Like I got nice slats on. I got nice shoes. I got a nice like button down and a blazer. And I walk outside, and he's in jeans, a T-shirt, and flip-flops. Yep. And I was like, where the fuck are we going? It's like,
Mom, he's already doing something weird. Don't let me leave the house, Mom.
You know what's so funny is that that so contrasts the traditional, like, well, you would think he would show up.
Yeah. Dressed to the nines. That's what I was preparing for.
And you would be like... Yeah. You know, flip-flops, shorts, and a T-shirt. God, it's so good.
Oh, God. So...
And that's one of those, oh, man. That's one of those where he was like, I was trying to dress to make you feel comfortable. And you're like, I was trying to dress to make you feel comfortable.
Yeah, dude. So good.
So we get in the car. We had, like, a good laugh about that, which, you know, settled me again. I was a little bit more relaxed. But I was still, like, deeply concerned about this church that I was walking into. Because, again, like, traditionally speaking, like, church that I went to, you dress up. You know, even the kids, like, we dressed up as kids. And so it's weird to imagine a place that doesn't matter. So I'm expecting to, like, all right, maybe it's just him or all these people in this church are, like, weird hippies or something like that. We'll find out. So all the strange things I thought about the square for anybody who's listening from the square. So I get to the church, and, you know, I did, like, my standard thing, which sat in the absolute furthest back row that I could sit back in a corner. And Phil was speaking that day. And just to put it in perspective, the square is like 35, 40 people deep at this point. So it's like everybody knows everybody in this room. Yeah. So everybody immediately knew, even though I was sitting in the back, that guy's never been here before. But Phil was giving like this really good message on letting go of the past, which I lost it because, you know, all the recent stuff that had been going on in my life was super timely. And then... Colin came up and he's like, you really got to meet the pastor. You got to meet Phil. I was like, all right, that's chill. I really want to like be not around people anymore, but we'll do this. It seems important to you. You seem chill. I'm still riding that wave. I'm riding the wave that you're a chill guy.
Yes.
So I go to meet Phil, and for anybody who doesn't know Phil is...
That's literally probably most of our listeners.
Yeah. The most extroverted person you'll ever meet.
Yes.
He has the same spatial sense that, like, I don't even know what to compare it to, but he's touchy.
He's a hugger.
He's a hugger. That's the best way to put that.
You just said a pastor was touchy.
Yeah, I know. That's how I look like that.
He's a good guy.
He's a hugger. But anyways.
He's the good kind.
He's the good kind of touchy. Jesus, this has to stop.
There's no recovery. Phil's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a really good guy.
But, so I get up there, and I, like, you know, set my hand out to shake his hand like you normally do when you meet people. Yep. And Phil, like, all but, like, slides it out of the way and just wraps his arms around me. And for this is like a minute-long hug. And the first 30 seconds of this hug, I am freaking the fuck out. I'm like, dude, I don't know you. Why are you touching me? You're in my space. I don't understand any of this. And then, like, a calm fell over me for the next 30 seconds. Still to this day, don't really know what that was about, but... I don't know, you just instantly trust Phil in that moment. He's got a special gift. And then he invites me out to, like, have coffee and talk, and he wants to hear my story. This is another hilarious story I like to tell, because it's super awkward for me. We met at Starbucks And I was like, all right, cool. And I'm like sharing this whole story, like that whole first part of the story that I shared with you guys with Phil. And he starts crying, like really crying. Like there's visible tears on his face. And I'm like, oh man, this is weird.
Mom.
Yeah. It was just super weird. And then like, he does like, you know, when people like cry talk and they can't quite get it out and it cracks a lot. He starts doing that. And now I'm like starting to look around Starbucks. Cause I'm like, I don't know what people think this is right now, but it can't be anything positive.
Are you breaking up with me?
But like the meeting still goes great. Like we talk afterwards. And that was just the day I learned that he was just a very expressive person when it comes to emotions. And it's something that I've come to love about him. So those whole experiences made, like, I was like, I'll try Christianity again. I found this crazy church that's, like, super different than anything else I've ever experienced. We'll give it a try. I think there's something here for me. So I spent, the next 3 years? I think the next 3 years.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and that's where I'm out meeting the fellas here, which is great. Which we've already shared that story. I think we've already shared our origin stories.
Episode 0.
Episode 0.
UpInOUt Studios.
Sorry for the quality.
It's real bad, but it's us.
But yeah,
more about that.
met with them. I had a short stint where I lived out in Seattle with Colin because we were living together at the time, and he was going to leave, and I was like super bummed, and he was like, just come with me. And I was like, fuck, I got to stop following this weird white dude around. But it's just... But yeah, that was a whole cool thing, and then came back into doing the studio.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to UpInOUt Studios origins, definitely.
Yeah,
check
that's
out episode 0.
Definitely check it out. But yeah, that's all stuff that's kind of led me here. Like I said, there's a lot more that I can tell in the story. I know your takeaways are going to be that guy used to smoke a lot of pot, and now he doesn't.
Mine's going to be he got drunk off 2 mics hard and smacked his friend's older sister in the ass.
You know, it's crazy that you got arrested for that because my entire high school, I think if they did an MIP count, it would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unreal. But no one ever got arrested. They just gave out MIPs.
Yeah. Right. Kennesaw was really cracking down at that time. They were really trying to put pressure on. But I realized I never told my other smacking ass story, and
yes, and you alluded to it.
Feels bad for the listeners, so
we don't like to blue ball our listeners.
We're bad at it. We kind of do it all the time. Yeah, so we'll try to be better. And it's really short. I was at a fraternity party in Auburn, and it is the most drunk I've ever been in my entire life. It's the only time I've ever blacked out. I was not blacked out at this point, though, and a woman that I thought was very attractive walked past me that I did not know, and my drunk dumbass thought, smack her on the butt. That's how you get a woman's attention. It's not. That's how you get thrown out of a fraternity party, because that was someone's girlfriend. Yep. Lesson learned.
Damn.
Be a good person. And if you think you're not a good person, work towards being a better person.
Yeah. The only time I ever blacked out was not due to substance.
Oh.
It was, and it's not like, it was a good experience. I spent 30 minutes talking. So I'll
at Corey, if you want to know that story.
At Corey, dude, there's so many of these that I literally had to race over. But
so let's wrap this up. Let's say this. Talk with people. Get to know the people that are around you. Dig deep. On the last episode, I talked about getting to understand a little bit about my grandfather before he passed away, and how it's one of the most important things about my life, one of the things I hold most dear. Don't shy away from talking to people and going deep. It matters. The relationships you build with people because of it are here. They're apparent. I wouldn't be able to do this company with these guys if we weren't as close as we were. So, takeaway. Any other takeaways? That's my takeaway. Talk to people. Go deep. Don't settle for surface.
Yeah, stories matter. And part of what we were talking about earlier, I love sharing about ours, is we all have stuff in common. We've all shared similar experiences, and that's one of those things that can bring us closer and work towards the goal of having conversations like we want to have. It's when you realize you have more similarities and differences with people, it kind of helps to open up the floor to have those important discussions. So, yeah, you'd be surprised what you hear from some people. There are some people now, like outside of this group, I'm sure there's some people now where if they hear some of this stuff, they're going to be like, what the fuck?
Most shocking fact of today.
Yeah.
I was born in Kentucky.
Yeah, there you go. Like
your reaction is priceless.
So you never know. Like it's definitely important to share, and I think it's an important culture to try and proliferate in the modern age. Is sharing your story. It's really important to share.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, we love you guys. I'm super excited we got to share our stories. I definitely, like I said, we can. This is if we were ever going to marathon a podcast, it would be on stories.
What are we at? 4 hours?
No, we're at 3.
Yeah,
3.
If we were ever going to marathon,
2 hour and a half episodes. Beautiful.
This would be the one to do it.
Phenomenal. All right.
Take away.
I mean, just to reiterate what you already said and a little bit of what I've already said, it's just, I don't know. I mean, connection is obviously an important part of just being a human because we all need other people. That's how we're wired. And yeah, I mean, sharing your story is a great way to just strengthen bonds. Like even like with your parents or your siblings or friends. Like I know it's kind of weird to just randomly tell someone your story, but if you go, hey, like I want to get to know you a little bit more. Like, do you mind getting coffee and sharing me your story just a little bit, whatever you want to share? And it's like nothing that's ever pressured, because that's the one thing like that no one can change about you, like, and that's the thing that we hold when we look at our stories. Is like that's what's important to us. So, yeah.
Man, it's so. I think the number one thing I want to take away from this, or that people should take away from this, is understanding other people better. That's the point of a story, is to be able to get to know someone better and go, I see why you think the way you do.
How you
I know what I understand what makes you tick.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me. And I don't know. I didn't go too deep with mine, not for lack of wanting to share.
Well, you also started off, so we didn't prepare you for us to just be like, here's a lot of our personal stuff.
I don't know. A lot of my personal stuff involves, relationships, and I don't want to dox people. That's more like a personal.
Hopefully, I didn't do any of mine. We'll see what happens.
It'll be fine.
That's careful enough.
Yeah, I think. Okay.
Don't at me.
Don't at me.
When did you move down to Georgia again? How old were you?
End of 5th grade, going into 6th grade, so it was 2006, 5, something like that.
Okay, so you were how old? I don't even know.
I was 6 or 7, 7 or 8.
Okay.
9,
No.
10.
After 5th year, like 11.
Oh yeah.
11 or 12.
Right.
Something.
11, 12.
Well, okay. I guess it was probably a more conscious thing that I noticed. But as a northerner, moving to the South, the freedom to use the word y'all goes through the roof. Because you use it back home and they're like...
That's legit.
And then actually, Phil said the same thing because he's from Washington.
Yeah,
so,
and then the freedom to use it down here and just like...
It's great. Y'all, I love the word y'all.
Well, because I go back and use it, and no one calls me out for it now.
Because
I'm here. But like, but if
we have given you the freedom.
Yes, but if you just went, we all want to do, and it's become more frequent during text. I used it during text a lot when I lived back home.
Yeah.
But I never said it. No one ever said it.
Isn't it a great word?
It is. It's a good word.
It's something about it.
Dude, do you know what one of the hardest shifts for me was? Soda.
That's a big one.
That was a
pop.
huge shift for me.
Well, it was pop. It is, yeah.
It was pop up north. That's what I've always known
Soda
it as.
here.
It's so weird to come down here and be like,
or just
soda.
Sprite or Coke. Like I don't even think I ever say, like I barely say soda.
Yeah.
I always refer to the...
Then the people who really fucked with me were like the older people who were like, you want some soda pop? I was like, no. No.
Actually.
No.
Never married before.
Actually, that's what... I use it as a joke. I'll be like...
some sody pop?
Yes. I'll go, I want some sody pop or something like that. But it's for a long time, for like the first year I lived here, and I would go back and visit. It was super easy to go, okay, it's soda here. And I cross into this, into the north and I go, all right, it's pop. really easy to just switch back and forth. I didn't have to think about it. Now I've been here too long. I went back home and I was like, pop, sody pop, and I just use sody
pop.
It's my get out of jail free card.
That's
I can use
fantastic.
both. It's and I have no problem. People are so touchy about it. You say pop and they're like, it's soda. It's like, oh, okay. But like
buddy.
the only
Number one, just moment of clarity for why we need to be better at having important conversations. Because if that's what makes you go, it is soda.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine what deeper conversations are like with you.
But like that's what people freak out on you.
Yeah.
If you say that, and it's like the only people I can justify getting that angry about is the people that call everything Coke.
Yeah.
I'll have a Coke. What kind? Mountain Dew. That's
not
not
a
Coke.
There's Coke and there's Mountain
It makes
Dew.
me angry.
Yeah, that's what makes me upset. I don't care. You know what? Soda, awesome. Pop, know what you're talking about. But like,
Stories, soda, pop, and Coke.
but you go Coke. You're wrong.
Pending title.
You will get a Coke.
Also, I don't know if this is just like in the city New York thing, but I remember the first time I asked somebody around here, I was like, do you guys have a corner store? And they're like, yeah. And they sent me to a Quick Trip, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I didn't ask for
I
gas
still don't
station.
even fully know what that is, but wait, I just need to go to New York more.
Yeah. I'll show you my favorite one.
We gotta go.
We gotta
Yeah, we
revisit.
gotta wrap up.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
comment, share, subscribe.
Apply for
The short film.
Short film if you're interested.
If you don't know what we're talking about with the short film, go listen to part 1. We talk about it in the beginning of part 1.
Yes.
Also, apply this concept in your life.
Yeah.
That's where I thought. That's where I thought we were
If
going.
you've made it here, share your story with at least one other person.
Like, hey man, I went to jail twice.
Sick.
That's how you do it.
Once? Twice.
Wait,
That's who I was being. Okay, never mind.
Oh, you were being
Yes.
me.
Yes.
I missed it.
Yeah,
All right.
it's okay.
Cheers.
I picked up on it.
Love you guys.
All right.
Deuces.